Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela Coons at the Wellness Radio TV on the road to wellness. I am really working so hard at trying to find that place that brings me peace. I want to share it with you. We talk on our cell phones continuously, we look at them for everything, and it's no wonder that they say that the average amount of time that people look at their cell phones throughout the day is 80 times. Well, I am very pleased to have as my guest today a person who is working in the field of mindfulness, working as an Ayurveda health coach, Haya Sharon Heller. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm super excited that you're interested in Ayurveda and presented me with this opportunity to speak about it, as well as how Ayurveda may address addictions.
And we have so many addictions. As I mentioned, the cell phone, that we look at them on average of 80 times a day. Well, let me tell you something, employers. We know what the employees are doing, right? Looking at their cell phones 80 times a day. It's just amazing. What's going on with us?
Well, I think it's simple and yet has layers. So, simplistically, every time we look at a cell phone or any addiction, it's giving us an oxytocin hit. It's changing our physiology. It's changing our brain. Yeah. So, if people are feeling stressed and unhappy, we have this human condition that has us kind of like always looking around for what do I like, what do I don't like, what's going to help me feel good, what's going to help me feel relaxed. And just like smoking a cigarette, people are starting to look at the phone. Every time you get a text or a like on Facebook, someone's reaching out to you, it's giving you a sense of
Oh my
love.
goodness. A sense of love that
Mm-hmm.
we're looking for in all the wrong places.
We're looking outside of ourselves. So really from the Ayurvedic and yogic perspective, it would be seen as a mistaken identity of really not even knowing at our core, who we are and our relationship to things. This is at the root cause of addiction and many health problems.
And so, of course, we hear addiction and we automatically think about drugs or alcohol or, even addictive relationships. And
Absolutely.
so now we're talking about the addiction to cell phones that have become such an intricate part of our lives, and we're raising our children to love them.
Wowee, yeah. So, habitual patterns get passed on. So, yeah, your kids and other people will mirror what you're doing. I think as soon as we become aware that really the biggest addiction is to our thoughts, and that's at the root cause of this process. When you can start realizing you are not your thoughts, and then your relationship to everything starts to change. When you look in the mirror and what you see in the mirror is always changing. When you look in the mirror when you're 5, 10, 20, 30, and so on, it's always the image you see is always changing. But isn't there a part of you that's looking in the mirror that's always the same?
That's interesting. There was a lady that I knew in Jackson, Tennessee, Miss Jane Lane. She was probably in her mid to late 70s when I first met her. And you could tell that she had been a looker. And she said to me one day, she said, Pamela, sometimes I look in the mirror and I say, who is that woman? You know,
Well, what happens is
you physically age, but then your mind, she's looking at this physical body,
Mhm.
has aged. It's like, who is that? Who did I become?
It could be the different. You see a line, you see a wrinkle, you see a zit, you see something different all the
Gray
time.
hair.
But what do? We focus so intently on what we're looking at, which is always changing, rather than really looking at the part of us that's always the same. And if we shift our perspective, starting to see ourselves as the seer, watching ourselves looking, we can start to do that in life and start to watch the nature of our minds, the nature of our thoughts. And this is part of the root cause of disease from the Ayurvedic perspective.
So we are addicted to our cell phones on top of all the other stuff that we're addicted to, food and whatever it might be. What's the forecast for us in this cell phone industry, in this cell phone world that we've created?
Well, technology, we can work with it. We don't have to work against it. If we use things appropriately in a right way, it can help us grow rather than becoming so overly obsessed and lost in it. Sort of like when you watch a movie, you forget you're watching a movie and you get sucked into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, I think, a lot of auto accidents could be happening because when you get on the phone, whether you're talking or texting, you get so absorbed in the language and the conversation, you forget where you are. So that's where mindfulness can come in, remembering where you are, remembering your relationship to what's happening, and not misusing it. Go inside. So we practice something called pratyahara, which is withdrawing the senses inward, is how it's often translated. But what it means is really changing the nourishment that you give to your mind. So rather than using cell phone for nourishing your mind, perhaps go into nature, spend some time in nature. Kind of a detox type of a program, just even with your thoughts, giving them a break, giving it a rest. And so another component is a cleansing of all of your senses, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you touch, your experience in life, what you surround yourself with. Will change your physiology and make you more present. So you will realize your relationship to things will change.
That's a lot.
Take a moment to digest that.
And so for those of us who are in the midst of this, and Lord help us with our little children, because some of these little bitty 3-year-olds can work some of these devices better than I can. And so how do we start in baby steps of weaning ourselves and becoming more mindful of how this superficial device is making us feel and replacing it with something else?
Well, we don't want to use suppression. Some people think they have to be very willful and, I will not do it. And it's really a form of suppression. They're not relaxed and they feel like they're depriving themselves of something, and they actually get more agitated. And then they'll end up doing the activity twice as much. So taking a different approach, really making change at a more subtle, more cellular level, and something as simple as being aware of your breathing. So breathing is a feedback loop to the mind and the nervous system. They work together. And the nervous system governs really a lot of the functioning of your body. It governs how quickly things empty out of your stomach. So if we're more relaxed, we call it a rest and digest. Your body will work more efficiently. You'll free up more energy. When you have more energy, you feel more creative, enthusiastic. Mm-hmm. So you may not slip into more harmful or more negative forms of behavior. You'll be more positive in general in life. And that's part of the definition of health from an Ayurvedic perspective, is having a bright, shining soul, being enthusiastic about life. So when your body's functioning optimally, it will digest your food and your experiences well, and you'll have more energy and more clarity.
Wow. Haya Sharon Heller is an Ayurveda health coach here in the Gainesville, Florida area, and you offer classes and you teach people how to do this. How are we receiving of this way of living?
That's a great question. So what I see a variety of things in the people that come to see me. In the general population, you can see, we have so much knowledge. We're drowning in knowledge and information, actually. But why do we still have so many chronic conditions? Why are people still having digestive discomfort, etc., or reaching for things to help them relax rather than just being relaxed? Being relaxed is actually our natural state of being, and we're just living so far removed. So what I see and actually the National Health Foundation, or the National Coaching Foundation, has studied this, that it takes 6 months to really have a good change where you're really re-engineering your patterns at a deep cellular level without backsliding. And from the Ayurvedic viewpoint, we also look at the process of fully digesting, whether it's your food or your experiences, takes a cycle of 40 days. So I've developed a Ayurveda method or Ayurvedic health coaching programs that I have a 6-week course. So that gets you started and gets you through the first 40 days. I also have a one-on-one program that's set up where you see me once a week for the first 4 weeks to get you jump started, and then come once a month for a total of 6 months. And this way, I can follow you, I can help coach you, we can work week by week, peeling away layers to the obstacles to someone's success.
Yeah. And so this is a process that works with any addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, Haya, am I saying it right?
Haya, yes.
Haya,
yes,
thank
yes.
you very much
Thanks
for being here. I appreciate you allowing us to come in the studio today and to share this vital information with those who are looking to live a more holistic, harmonious life, and that's our goal. This is what I think I want to start doing, and I encourage you to do this too. Before we reach for the cell phone to look at post, if you really want to count some likes, go outside and look at the trees. Count some leaves, because that's God's way of showing you how much He likes you. That's what I want to do. I want to go count leaves and enjoy nature, because studies have shown the more we spend time in nature, the better we feel emotionally. There's no study that says we feel better emotionally because we're looking at electronics, right?
Right, and maybe make some dates with your friends and eat with them and play with them rather than just staying on the phone. And turn the phone off and be really present for those that are really close to you, because often they could be feeling abandoned, and then they turn to their phone, et cetera, down the line.
Down the line while you're sitting there eating. How many times do you go out to eating? You see both people sitting at the table and everybody's on the cell phone.
Right. And even though, it used to be very adorable when you'd see the old films, even if you see a couple sitting there in silence, there's still something in that silence that's quite beautiful, that you can sit with someone, be present. You don't have to fill the void you don't have to fill it with words necessarily. But within that silence is where, a deep, purposeful conversation and connection can
Really?
come from.
I thought you had to be talking.
Blah, 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 blah. It will spontaneously come. But I think we want to get rid of the noise so that when we're really communicating. And again, communication really starts with ourselves. So if we're constantly on the phone, we're not able, or on a device, we're not really even communicating with ourselves. So having some moments of quiet will really help us in speaking and in listening to really, and that's what it is, to really have connection that's purposeful and meaningful with another person.
You have so much good information to share. Can we come back? Can we do some more shows?
That would be wonderful.
Yeah,
I would love
that
to.
would be
I
excellent.
would love it.
Excellent. I'm here with Haya Sharon Heller, Ayurveda health coach here in Gainesville, Florida. On the road to wellness at the Wellness Radio TV. I'm Pamela Coons. Thank you for joining us. Remember, there is healing at the well.